A New Way of Life.
Tonight on TV Close-Up, our correspondent Diana Romero will talk to some rat race dropouts, some very happy people who've given up regular jobs and high salaries to start a new way of life.
I'm here in northern Vermont, where the nearest town is more than 25 miles away. Dan and Michelle Gallagher were born and lived most of their lives in Boston. Dan was vice president of marketing for a publishing company, and Michelle was an advertising executive. They gave up their jobs and moved to this remote area of Vermont 4 years ago. Michelle, what made you give up everything for this?
Everything? A big house and expensive cars aren't everything. We used to work long hours. Such long hours, in fact, that we hardly ever saw each other. We wanted to do this years ago, but we were making so much money that we were afraid to quit our jobs. Even the time we spent at home was so hectic that we never had time to just be together. So 4 years ago, we traveled around New England on vacation. We saw this place. It was for sale, and we liked it so much we decided to buy it. The next week, we quit our jobs, sold most of our things, and here we are.
How do you earn a living?
We don't need a lot. We have 2 milk cows and a few chickens. We grow all our own vegetables. It's a simple life. We're still so busy that we work from dawn to dark, but we're together. And now we have Kimberly, who's 3. We're happier than we've ever been.
The motorcycle I'm sitting on is a very special one. Special because it's been all the way around the world. It belongs to Luke Musto, who has just come back here to Detroit after a 3-year motorcycle trip. Luke, what led you to quit your job and make this trip?
I worked in a car factory on the assembly line. I made good money, but it was really monotonous. It was so routine that I never had to think. My job is done by a robot now. Big surprise. Anyway, I bought this bike secondhand, put 2 packs on the back, and got myself on a freighter to Europe.
What did you do for money?
I had a little money saved up, but of course it didn't last long. I had to find work where I could. I did a lot of different things. Picked fruit, washed dishes, worked as a mechanic.
How did people react to you?
Everywhere I went, people were so friendly that I always felt right at home. There was such a tremendous amount of interest in the bike that it was easy to start a conversation. Usually you can communicate without knowing the language.
Did you ever feel like giving up and coming home?
Only once, in Bangladesh. I got so sick from something I ate that I had to go to a hospital. But it didn't last long.
You've had such an exciting time that you'll find it hard to settle down in Detroit, won't you?
I'm not going to. Next week I'm leaving again, but this time I'm heading south, to Tierra del Fuego. See you when I get back.
Last of the airships?
At 7:20 p.m. on May 6, 1937, the world's largest airship, the Hindenburg, floated majestically over Lakehurst Airport, New Jersey, after an uneventful crossing from Frankfurt, Germany. There were 97 people on board for the first Atlantic crossing of the season. There were a number of reporters waiting to greet it. Suddenly, radio listeners heard the commentator screaming, "Oh my God! It's broken into flames! It's flashing! Flashing! It's flashing terribly!" 32 seconds later, the airship had disintegrated, and 35 people were dead. The age of the airship was over. The Hindenburg was the last in a series of airships which had been developed over 40 years in both Europe and the United States. They were designed to carry passengers and cargo over long distances. The Hindenburg could carry 50 passengers in 25 luxury cabins with all the amenities of a first-class hotel. All the cabins had hot and cold water and electric heating. There was a dining room, a bar, and a lounge with a dance floor and a baby grand piano. The Hindenburg had been built to rival the great luxury transatlantic liners. It was able to cross the Atlantic in less than half the time of a liner. By 1937, it had carried 1,000 passengers safely and had even transported circus animals and cars. Its sister ship, the Graf Zeppelin, had flown over 1,000,000 miles, 1.6 million kilometers, and had carried 13,100 passengers without incident. Nobody knows the exact cause of the Hindenburg disaster. The Hindenburg was filled with hydrogen, which is a highly flammable gas, and every safety precaution had been taken to prevent accidents. Sabotage has been suggested, but experts at the time believed that it was caused by leaking gas, which was ignited by static electricity. It had been waiting to land for 3 hours because of heavy thunderstorms. The explosion happened just as the first mooring rope, which was wet, touched the ground. The most surprising thing is that 62 people managed to escape. The fatalities were highest among the crew members, many of whom were working deep inside the airship. After the Hindenburg disaster, all airships were grounded, and until recently, they have never been seriously considered as a commercial proposition.
The Washington, D.C. Metro.
Traveling on the Washington Metro presents few difficulties for visitors because of the clear, color-coded map. At the bottom of the map, you will find fare and travel time information. You buy your fare card at one of the yellow vending machines. You can use nickels, dimes, quarters, $1, $5, $10, and $20 bills, and the machine will give you change. You have to use your fare card to enter the metro system by inserting it into the slot at the gate. It will be returned to you at the other side of the gate. Do the same thing when exiting the system.
Piero and Margarita have just arrived at National Airport.
Okay. We have to get to Deanwood. Can you see it?
Yes, it's up here. It looks so easy. We just take the yellow line to L'Enfant Plaza, then change to the orange line. It goes straight there. It's the 7th stop from L'Enfant Plaza.
Betsy is at the information booth at the Pentagon.
Excuse me, how do I get to Connecticut Avenue and Q Street? I mean, which is the nearest metro station?
You want DuPont Circle. Take a look at the map. You take the yellow line to Gallery Place. Then you'll have to change for the red line. It's the 3rd stop.
I see.
Or you could take the blue line to Metro Center and change to the red line there.
Which way is faster?
It's about the same.
Well, thank you.
Where's a map?
There's one over here. They said we have to meet them at Farragut North. Oh, can you find it?
Yes, here it is. I guess we take the blue line to L'Enfant Plaza, then change to the yellow line and go to Gallery Place. Then we go 2 stops to Farragut North on the red line.
I'm not sure that's the quickest way. We could take the blue line all the way to Metro Center and get the red line there. Then it's only 1 stop.
We might as well do it your way. It's only 1 change. My way has 2 changes. Where are we going now?
The Washington Monument. Here's the map I picked up.
Okay, let's see. Here we are at Union Station. I think the best way to go is to take the red line 3 stops to Metro Center.
Right. And then we switch to either the blue line or the orange line. It doesn't seem to matter. So we take the blue or the orange line south to the 2nd stop.
Great. It shouldn't take long.
The 6 o'clock news.
And now, the 6 o'clock report with Jack Dennehy.
Good evening. Thousands of Portstown residents marched on City Hall today to protest plans to build a state prison near the city. Although a light rain was falling, an estimated 5,000 people marched over a mile from Portstown High School to City Hall, where Governor Brown and Mayor Henry Flores were meeting to discuss the project. A new prison is needed because the other state prisons are overcrowded. Several sites for the new prison were considered, But Portstown was chosen because, in the governor's words, all areas in the state must share the problems of our prison system. Although the protesters asked to meet with the governor, he refused and returned to the capital. After the governor's departure, however, the mayor met with the organizers of the march and explained his position. 4 entire city blocks were evacuated this afternoon in Oceanside because of a gas explosion. The explosion occurred at 1:20 p.m. in a deserted building on 2nd Street. Fire department officials believe that the explosion was due to leaking gas. The building had been empty for several months, and they suspect that a gas main had cracked because of vibrations from work being carried out by the city on the street. Coast Guard helicopters went into action today after a yacht capsized in Coolidge Sound. Despite rain and high seas, the helicopters were able to rescue all but one of those aboard. 2 men and 2 women were pulled to safety, but one of the men was pronounced dead on arrival despite the rescue team's efforts. The other 3 are in satisfactory condition. The 5th passenger, a woman, was not found. Although the Coast Guard continues its search, she is presumed drowned. The Coast Guard had issued a small craft warning this morning, but the yacht set out from the Newgate Marina in spite of the warnings. Incomplete reports have reached this station about a 100-mile-an-hour car chase on Portstown streets. Only minutes ago, according to these reports, Portstown police were alerted by an anonymous phone call and rushed to catch a gang that was breaking into a local discount clothing store. However, the gang of young males escaped in a late-model car that allegedly had been stolen 2 days ago in Harbor City. The gang was armed and fired several times at the police cars behind them. Nevertheless, the police were able to run the gang's car off the road and arrest all the members with no injuries on either side. Now to sports. Portstown High School Stadium was filled last night when the Portstown Pirates played their traditional rivals, the Harbor City Raiders. Pirate quarterback Tony Rizzuto scored 2 touchdowns in the first half. Although the Raiders didn't score at all in the first half, they went on to win with 2 touchdowns and a field goal in the second half. In spite of the Pirates' good showing in the first half, they couldn't seem to do anything right in the second. The final score? Raiders 17, Pirates